Hello everyone and welcome back to Curtain Up, my monthly series where I catch you up on all things theatre related that I've been up to in the past month. I said in August's Curtain Up that I thought that that was going to be the busiest theatre month for me in this year, and oh my god, I was wrong. September feels like it's been the busiest month of my entire life. So yeah, just gonna crack on. So I started off the month with a 2-show day because why the heck not? I think we started the month on a Saturday. Yeah, it would have been a Saturday. So I first saw a matinee performance of Little Shop of Horrors at Regent's Park Open Air Theatre. I've not had the best luck with Regent's Park Open Air Theatre this year. I actually signed up for their Breeze membership last December, I think, and that is where you pay £10. It's for those that I think are 16 or 18 to 25. You pay £10 for membership and then you can get tickets for the productions in the season at £10 per person. Yeah, and you can buy also one for a friend at £10 as well. So it's an absolute bargain. So I did that for Peter Pan and also Little Shop of Horrors, and then ended up double booking myself for both of those days. So thankfully a friend of a friend works at Regent's Park, so I managed to get like an affordable ticket for Little Shop of Horrors because I really wanted to see it, but by the time I could figure out my diary to book, it was just expensive. So thankfully I managed to get a cheeky discount. I really enjoyed it. This was my first time experiencing Little Shop of Horrors. If you don't know me, I like to go into things kind of fresh and not know any of it if possible. So I knew like Suddenly Seymour and Somewhere That's Green because people always perform it in concerts. So I knew those songs. I didn't really know much about the story, and yeah, I really liked it. It's a perfect show to be in like Regent's Park. I wish I'd seen an evening performance to like fully appreciate the lighting design, because I've seen photos of it at the end of the show and it looked amazing. So that's the only kind of big negative I could think of from the experience. I also didn't love the end of like the actual story itself. The actual end of the show, the finale, etc. was like joyous, so much fun, but the actual ending of the story was really weird. So weird, but amazing performances. It was really great to see some of the older queens from Six the Musical the first time around. So Christina Modestu and Renee Lamb, they were amazing. Mark Antolin, yes, Antolin, as Seymour was brilliant. I wasn't a massive fan of Jemima Rooper as Audrey. I thought she acted it well, but her singing voice wasn't quite there for me. And I really loved the fact that they had a drag queen for the plant, Audrey too. I thought that was actually really genius, and I liked the way that it was a plant, but then it was Vicky Vox, the drag queen, completely forgot their name then, who then played the plant. I thought that actually worked really well, and obviously because I've never seen a production of it before, I didn't know any different. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. It's not going to be one of my favourite shows ever, but I'm really, really glad to have finally seen it, and I thought it worked well at Regent's Park. And then the second show that I saw that day was another trip to Six the Musical at the Arts Theatre, because well, this is just a recurring theme for September. I saw Six a lot. Sorry, not sorry. I went with my friends Amy and Scott, and it was so lovely. Amy had seen the show up in Edinburgh. This was Scott's first time seeing the show, and they obviously loved it. Amy already loved it, hence why we were going again together, and I'm just obsessed. So that was the first of many trips to Six in September. A couple of days after that, I saw the first preview of Heathers at Theatre Royal Haymarket. This literally feels like it was years ago. I feel like I've lost my mind over this month. So I went to see Heathers with Sean. If you are a fan of my channel, you'll know that we saw the workshop of Heathers at the Other Palace last year together. We went to the dress rehearsal and the first preview at the Other Palace. I saw it multiple times at the Other Palace, and so when it was announced that they were transferring to Theatre Royal Haymarket, obviously we wanted to try and see it together, so we did. Unfortunately, I didn't love it because a bit of drama around Heather's social media. I did vlog it still, and that's up on my channel, so if you want to see our thoughts on it. It's a long vlog, you know what Sean and I are like, so you can go and check that out. Obviously the show is great, but things outside of the show really dampened my experience of it, which is really sad. So yeah, my next theatre trip after that, oh my god, I just need to like record this and just repeat it every time. I went back to Six, and this is because it was the gala night of Six, and they actually invited me to go and see it because I'm quite a big fan of the show and I talk about it quite a lot on social media. So they invited me to come and see it, and I'm really appreciative of that. I just love this show, and to be there on gala night was really, really exciting. And as I was picking up my ticket, one of the producers, Kenny Wax, came over to say hello to me, called me a legend, you know, just casual. And it was a fantastic night, and something I really love about Six, for the majority of my trips to see it when it's come back to London, that was the wrong way to phrase that, since it's come back to London, there we go, I'm really tired, I've been able to take like different friends along with me every time, so I'm like bringing people into the queendom, and I'm just really like happy about that. It's really, really fantastic. After that, I went back to see Kinky Boots at the Adelphi Theatre. I don't know why I said that in such a weird way, like Kinky Boots. We had the gala night. Yes, the gala night. Oh god, my brain is a mess. The gala night for Kinky Boots. It was an early birthday celebration show. Super duper exciting. The whole cast were just on fire. This was, I think, a Thursday night, and it was just amazing. I am obviously so gutted that Kinky Boots is closing in the West End in January, but this is a phenomenal cast to close the show out. Everyone was just incredible, and I'm gonna miss this show so much. After that, I went back to Six. I need to calm down. After that, I took a trip to Nottingham to see Sweet Charity at the Nottingham Playhouse. This was another show that I'd never seen of before. I can't speak. This was another show that I hadn't seen. I did know a couple of songs from it, but I didn't realise that they were songs from Sweet Charity. My main draw to see it was the fact that Rebecca Traherne was playing Charity, and I love Rebecca Traherne. I think she is absolutely incredible, and obviously I thought she was fantastic in this show. I didn't love the show itself, like the story of the show I was not a fan of. It's just very old-fashioned. It's just one of those that you're just like, oh god, this feels like it was written in like a whole other world. So I didn't love the story, but I appreciated like the visuals of it and the performances from the cast members. And it was just nice, like, to go up to Nottingham. I booked on my own, but obviously there were friends there, because that's always the way. I never need to worry about booking shows. I'm very lucky. Even if I go somewhere on like a random Tuesday, there's probably going to be someone I know in that theatre, so that's always really nice. And I've got one of my best friends from home now lives up in Nottingham, so I managed to see her as well. So it was a really nice kind of like 2-in-1 trip, like see a show and also see one of my besties from home. It was just really, really lovely. And I'm just always grateful to see Rebecca Traherne performing, because she's a legend. I love her. If she could just do a show in London now, that would be fantastic. After that, I went back to Six. All right, okay, cool, brill. This was a specific booked show though. I am so tired. My brain is not here. So I went this time because I was taking a friend of mine who was visiting back home. She recently moved, well, not recently, it was like a year ago. She moved to Toronto. She was back for a quick trip, and she was like, I want to see Six. And I was like, I'll take you. So went to see Six with her. Also, Grace was on for Catherine Howard, Grace Moat. I never know if I'm saying her name right. I need to get it clarified. She was on for Catherine Howard, so I really wanted to see her. And there was also a Q&A afterwards, so that was super exciting. It kind of all worked out perfectly. I should hopefully be getting a vlog of that up at some point soon. oh, honestly, I'm going to tell you all about this month at the end of this video. But yeah, hopefully soon that'll be up and you can see like all of the answers and the little snippets from the finale, etc. But yeah, again, it was really lovely to catch up with a friend who obviously I don't get to see very often anymore. Introduce her to this amazing show literally within like 45 seconds of the show started. She told me she loved it, so that was great. And yeah, see the Q&A, that was super duper fun. Super duper, what was that? The next show after that, I went to the Southwark Playhouse. I went to see Wasted, which is a new British musical. It's a rock musical about the Bronte sisters. Obviously I've been on quite a hype of seeing historical musicals at the moment, so this has been on my radar for a while. The press team at the Southwark Playhouse very kindly invited me to see the show, which is great. I liked what they were trying to do with the show, but I feel like it's definitely one of those that does need more work. I will be putting a video out about that. That should hopefully be up before this video, so if you want to hear my full thoughts on that, you can go and check out that video. But as always, it was lovely to visit the Southwark Playhouse, and I always love seeing new stuff, and Natasha Barnes was in this show and she is such a talent, so seeing her was a joy. Switching things up slightly, the next show that I saw after that was part of the Pinter at the Pinter season. So I took Sean along with me and we went to see The Lover and the Collection, which is Pinter 2 in Pinter at the Pinter. Take a shot every time I say Pinter. So to mark 10 years since Harold Pinter died, the Jamie Lloyd Company is putting on a massive season of Pinter short plays. So right now it's Pinter 1 and Pinter 2. I knew that Sean really wanted to see the Pinter play, so obviously, I mean, I feel like generally if I'm going to go see a play and I want to go with someone, Sean is going to be my first choice, obviously. So I'm really glad that I could take him along to see that. So Pinter 2, which is The Lover and the Collection, it's kind of the more comedy plays that Pinter wrote. Pinter has such a unique style. I think this was actually the first time that I've seen any of his work performed. I must admit I was very tired, so I was a bit confused, but it was funny and incredible performances. So Pinter 2 has David Suchet, Russell Tovey, Hayley Squires and John Macmillan, and the characters are just so sort of like whimsical in a way and so quirky, and there's like a very dry sense of humour. So the main thing I actually loved from the evening wasn't actually anything to do with me, but it was how excited Sean was after the show, because he said that he's seen Pinter stuff before and never really sort of got it, but this is the first time that he's seen Pinter and really got it and understood it and appreciated it fully. And I was like, oh my god, him just talking about the show afterwards made me really happy. And yeah, just Sean's appreciation for that and his excitement over it really made me happy. So thanks, Sean. The next show that I went to after that was also quite different, actually. I went to see 21 Chump Street. This was at the Courtyard Theatre. This is a new venture from Connolly and Clift and Connolly. Lizzie Connolly, who is an actress that I adore, I think she's absolutely fantastic. Her and Stephanie Clift have ventured into a bit of like producing and directing, and 21 Chump Street is a mini musical by Lin-Manuel Miranda based on the concept of, I think it's called 21 Jump Street, which is based on a true story, I believe. Could be getting that completely wrong. It was, well, I just thought it was going to be a 15-minute musical, and like when you pay like £25 for something like that, you're like, I'm paying a lot per minute here. But it wasn't just that. It was like an experience. So I'd booked for, I think, the first time slot. So it started off by going in and watching the show. So that's how it started. And then the Courtyard Theatre, it's massive. I don't know what the building is used for as well as the theatre space, but it's huge. So went in to watch the show, really enjoyed it. Tyrone Huntley was the main character, completely forgotten his name. He's just amazing. And I was sat behind Sharon D. Clark. queen. So really enjoyed the show. Just wish there'd been more of it, but that's not their fault. Then went on to like sort of a recreational room, like everyone could chill out, get drinks. Really wish I hadn't gone on my own because I would have enjoyed that whole section a lot more. And then we went into like a sort of canteen style room. We got some pizza, and then Genevieve, Nicole, and there was a guy as well with her, and I can't remember his name. They were dressed up as like the dinner ladies, and I just didn't know what was going to be happening. But then they broke into this massive song and dance, and it was ridiculous and like so much fun. So that happened, and then we all moved into another room, and it was a bit more of a chill atmosphere, sort of like a cool acoustic bar. And then I don't know who they were, but these three girls, one was on the piano, and then there was the two girls that were the main sort of singers. One played the guitar, one played the violin, I think, and they did like a 20 or so minute acoustic set. And then we went back to the sort of recreation chill room before then going into a sort of like a proper gig, like a normal gig, everyone standing, and this was like at the finale of the night. So basically everyone's timetables led to this concert at the end. So there were like 4 or 5 performances of 21 Jump Street. But the way it was timed was then everyone finished off at the concert. Does that make sense? I don't know. And that was Cedric Mele, who was recently in Chess, and I became obsessed with his voice from Chess. Thought it was absolutely amazing. He did like a half-hour, I think, concert or something, and it was just a big party, and it was amazing. Like, the only regret I have is that I didn't think that I should go with someone. But I fully would have enjoyed the experience like so much more if I were with a friend. But that's not to say that I didn't enjoy it. Like, it was so good. And I feel like you definitely got your money's worth. Like, there was so much talent. There was such a variety and so many moving parts to an evening. So congrats to Connolly and Clift for pulling that off, because that must have been so stressful. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was definitely something like very different. After that, I went to the Old Vic Theatre to see Sylvia, another new British musical to do with history. Sylvia didn't have the best luck while at the Old Vic. They were kind of plagued with a lot of troubles. So I had booked for later on in the run, hoping that all the troubles would have gone, and they hadn't. So I ended up watching a concert version of Sylvia, because basically Genesis Linear, who was meant to be playing Sylvia, had unfortunately fallen sick at the start of the run. So her understudy had amazingly taken over, but then on the night I was there, another cast member, I believe it was Azuka Hoyle, who she'd also become ill. So it was all just too many understudies that hadn't been able to fully rehearse their understudy parts to safely perform the show. Rather than cancelling the whole thing though, they decided to put on these concert versions of them and offered a full refund as well. So I was like, well, this is just going to be a free show. I'm going to stick around. And I loved the music so much. I really, really enjoyed the performances of it, and I'm gonna try my best to do a little sit down video talking about the show as a whole and my experiences of seeing the show, because I want to talk about it, because I really, really bloody loved it. Even though obviously it was a little bit harder to follow the story when it's just the music and you can't see the visuals as much, I still really, really, really loved it, and I will talk a bit more about it in this video. The next show that I saw after that was Matilda at the Cambridge Theatre. I love Matilda, and I was invited along to go see it as part of their recent, well, I say recent, I feel like it's an ongoing kind of campaign, but they just wanted to invite people, basically, us influencers, blah. So yeah, a load of us went to see Matilda. I love this show so much, and the new cast had recently started, so it was good to see some new faces in the cast. I just Love it. And again, I will be doing not a normal vlog, but a little video talking about Matilda. But yeah, just, I love it. Go see it at the Cambridge if you can, and on tour, but especially at the Cambridge, because there's something so special about being in that theatre for that show. I just love it. And then the next show after that was a return visit to, not Six, Sylvia. So, as I mentioned, I saw that version of it on the Tuesday, the concert version, loved it. I just had this sudden feeling, I think it was literally the next day, I was like, oh my God, I am desperate to try and see this show in its staged version, and just to see it again, to be honest, like before it finishes, because it finished that weekend. So like a mad woman, I was on Twitter, I was on Instagram, I was on like just Google, Facebook, every platform possible, searching every variation of hashtag OV Sylvia ticket, at the Old Vic Theatre ticket, Sylvia ticket, Sylvia London ticket, like Old Vic Sylvia ticket, like every combination that you could think of to try and find tickets. I was doing that. But then I found this one woman who had 2 tickets left to the final show, and they were a bit out of my like comfy price zone, but I was so desperate. And so I messaged her, and I thought there's no way she's still gonna have these tickets. Like, other people had responded, and it was a pair, so I was like, I'm gonna need to find someone who's willing to spend like 40 quid to see a show tomorrow night. And thankfully I did, and we went, and I am so glad. It was so good. I got it more. I loved the music even more. The performances were just incredible, and it was the last performance of Sylvia. So the Old Vic and Zoo Nation and everyone involved have kind of promised that it will come back next year, but obviously you just don't know what happens. Like, because they've had so many troubles with this run, I think that's why they definitely want to bring it back, to kind of come back stronger, but still, you never know. People say that. They're like, yeah, it's definitely going to come back, and then it never does. So I was just so desperate to see it one more time, and I'm so glad. It was amazing. And as I say, I'll try and make a video talking about it to explain to you why I loved it. So the next show after that, I did go back to Six. And after that, very excitingly, I went back to my hometown, sort of close enough. I went to Northampton to see the Kinky Boots tour, because I am the luckiest girl in the world and I actually get to work on the marketing for Kinky Boots. I mean, you knew that I loved it anyway, because I've made videos about it before. I was at the first preview, I was at their first press night in London, and now I get to work on it. Oh my God. So a group of us from work went up to Northampton. It was for the press night. It was amazing. I just adore this show, and the tour cast are fantastic. Got to see Canon Francis as Lola, Joel Harper-Jackson as Charlie, and one of the loveliest guys I know, Joshua St. Clair, and his boyfriend Josh Lovell. Oh my God, they're in the show together and I adore them. I need to calm down. Audiences in Northampton seem to be absolutely loving it, and just seeing the reaction and the responses to all of it, I got so emotional. I mean, I was probably very overtired, but and people were like, some people gave a standing ovation after Hold Me In Your Heart, and I was like, I am gonna bawl. It was just so special. Literally the next day, this was not a good idea, this was bad planning, but whatever. Sean and I, because we love a first preview, we went to the first preview of Company in the West End, and I am so confused about Company. It's Sean's, I think, top favourite show of all time, I think. Sorry if I'm misquoting you there, Sean. We both came out of it and we were like, what did we just watch? I mean, I've said it a million times in this video. I am like perpetually tired this month, and I'd just come back from Northampton. We'd almost got stuck in Northampton. So it was like a long night before and then a long day. Sean and I had booked like the very back of the theatre because Sean had sat there for the ferryman. So he said the view was fine and it was obviously like the cheapest available. But I felt like the company was so directed to the stalls and I felt so disconnected. I just think it had a few like sort of kind of teething problems in terms of, I just don't know how to explain it, but I didn't love it and that makes me really sad. And Sean feels the same as well. He feels like really gutted that he feels like he's kind of left out, and I agree, but I think we're both going to try and see it again from like better seats hopefully, because today Tix are doing the £25 rush seats, so definitely going to try that and hopefully be like second time lucky. And then the next day after that, oh my god, busiest week of the busiest month of my life, I saw Pinter 1 as part of Pinter at the Pinter at the Harold Pinter Theatre. Shots. Pinter 1 is very, very different to Pinter 2. So Pinter 2 had just the 2 short plays in The Lover and the Collection. Pinter 1 has a lot. It has press conference. Oh god, I'm not going to remember them in order. Press conference, One for the Road, Mountain Language, Ashes to Ashes, The Prez and the Officer, a short poem called Death, and it's very like deep. I think enjoying it is the wrong way to phrase it, but I really appreciated this one and what it was doing, because it's really like gritty topics to deal with. It's about what's the right phrase for it? Basically about a really evil government, and the Prez and the Officer basically takes the mick out of Donald Trump, though obviously Pinter wouldn't have known that this was going to happen, but that's how Jamie Lloyd is kind of playing it out as if it's Donald Trump. And I saw John Coleshaw doing it and he did a fantastic job. Sadly, if you've seen Pinter, you'll have obviously know what the short play is about. You can't imagine Donald Trump making an order like that. Oh. It's a really interesting mix of some bits are funny, but they're also like really terrifying, really fantastically acted, especially by like Anthony Sher. Literally had me like shaking in my seat, like I was terrified. Papa Esidu, oh my god, a phenomenal actor. Kate O'Flynn, who I saw in The Glass Menagerie last year, also absolutely fantastic. John Joe O'Neill is so funny. It comes so naturally to him. He opened the show with Press Conference. You needed that sort of like a bit of a breezier start to the show, but at the same time it's really not. But the way he plays it is just brilliant. And Maggie Steed as well. I think that's everyone. An insane collection of performers. So the Pinter at the Pinter season is going to be pretty mega. The next day after that, this is why I'm really tired. It was a 6-show week. The next day after that, after work, I went up to Walthamstow to the High Tide Festival, which I think I'd only heard about this year. I've definitely been aware of it from like earlier on this year. And there was one play that I was desperate to see because I didn't manage to see it at the Edinburgh Fringe, and my friend Amy loved it, so I knew I couldn't miss it at High Tide, and that was a play called Sparks. I say it's a play. It's a play with music, but not quite a musical. It's one of those ones. And it's about a woman who is in her like early 30s, I think. And it's kind of telling us about her history of relationships with like a specific guy, really. But also a lot of other kind of life things. I really don't know how to describe this one without kind of really spoiling it, but it does deal with paternal death. Is that the right way to phrase it? I don't know. A dead mum. Can relate too strongly. So it was one of those that I knew going into it that I was probably gonna be affected by it. I was. But it was also really, really good. I am so glad that I managed to see it. And it was really interesting because it was just two women on stage, and they were both the same person, but like one version of the woman was the sort of more predominantly speaking part, and the other woman was like a musical part of her. I was like, me. So I really liked that. The music was really good in it, and it made me feel a lot. So yeah, I'm really glad I managed to see that. The next day after that, I need to stop going to the theatre. I actually wasn't planning to go to the theatre on this day, but it ended up being a super standby Saturday at Wicked. And I've not been to Wicked in a while, to be honest. I think the last time I went was like May. So I thought, why not? I managed to get a day seat, but I didn't have to queue for it. Yes, winner. Now at Wicked, they generally put the day seats online after a certain time period in the day. So I called up, got that ticket, used some theatre tokens to make it cheaper. So I got to see Laura Pick, who I love, as Elphaba. It's been a while. And I got to see Maria Coyne as Glinda, and I've been really looking forward to seeing her for ages now, and she was really good. Wow. So I'm really glad to have seen her. Tom, I want to say his surname's Hargreaves, was on as Fiero, and I don't know her surname, but Maggie Lynn T is her Twitter name, so I'm gonna guess that's kind of on the right line. It was her debut day as Nessa, so that was super exciting to see one of her first Nessa shows as well. It was amazing. Talking of Wicked, another thing that happened in that week that I forgot to mention was the fact that I worked the Wicked birthday media night. So I didn't watch the show, but I worked the after party, and that was pretty mega because, you know me, I'm a Wicked fangirl. I still am, but I work for the company that does their marketing. So I ended up working the birthday party, and like, what is my life? But anyway, it was amazing to see Wicked again. I have really missed it actually. I really, really loved being back. But I really want to see the tour again soon. I think that's the next time I will probably see it. As I say, I just kind of rushed to see it this time because it was a super standby show, and I love those. And honestly, they are the saviours of the West End. So any standbys, swings or understudies watching this video, I appreciate you and thank you. And finally, why not end the month as you start it? I went to see Six again. I just need to calm down. Grace was on again as Catherine Howard, so any excuse to see it, to be honest. So yeah. I mean, it'll probably be a blessing actually when they leave London, because I'll stop spending money on Six, but oh well. So as I mentioned, it's been a very busy month because of shows, because of work, really. So kind of apologies that I've not been able to put any videos out really this month, but also I have just been so busy, I've not had the time. I'm constantly tired. I'm loving life, but I'm constantly tired. I need a coffee drip hooked up to me at all times. I am still trying to put out the Edinburgh Fringe vlogs. I promise they will be out at some point by the end of this year. I just really haven't had the time to film, to be honest, and it breaks my heart. So if you care enough to miss my videos, don't worry, I do feel guilty about it. And I don't know, when I actually get some spare time, if I stop going to the theatre as much. Hopefully this month will be a little bit quieter, and therefore I'll actually be able to get some stuff done. Who knows? Yeah, as always, let me know what you've been up to in Theatreland this month. I would love to know. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to hopefully see more of me in the future, if I actually have time to make videos, then please do subscribe, because I would Really appreciate that. Thank you very much. I hope you're all doing really well. I hope you've had a bit more sleep in September than I have. I'm very jealous if so. Anyone that's going back to school, starting at university, going back to university, living life, I hope it's all going well. And I will hopefully see you very soon. Bye!